As we speak, we're already living in a day and age post Gotham Knights. The first season is already finished, and the show has already been cancelled. But I made a promise that I'd get through every one of these episodes, and I intend on doing just that. Every agonizing, upsetting minute of every one of these awful episodes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna continue to do it. I've already spoke about episodes 1 and 2, so now on to the third one. Let me reassure you all that there's a reason that I space these particular videos out. And that's because after one 40-minute episode of awful, I've already had my fill. There's only so much mentally and emotionally that I could take. The dialogue is not getting any better with time. It's still the same cringy melodrama that it's always been. And yet each and every time that I watch the show, I am still somehow surprised by it. It's odd watching serious issues and threats to Gotham City's well-being kind of be put on the back burner for teen romance and love triangles and secret keeping. I get the audience that it's geared toward, and honestly, I think there would even be a way to do it correctly. But this is not that. Look, that would never be my favorite use of these characters in the mythos, but I would at least hate it less and appreciate it more if it managed to properly balance out its tone, or at the very least its focus. Smallville had a somewhat similar premise. It was a show about DC characters in their younger years, and it put just as much focus on their home life as it did on the villain of the week. But that show worked so well because it didn't try to juggle both being a Superman show and being a coming-of-age drama. It intertwined both of those things. It wasn't constantly going back and forth between trying to be one thing or the other. It managed to do both and make both one and the same. I think this show's biggest problem is that because it balances the personal and professional lives so poorly, it makes the series seem like it itself has an identity crisis. The episode opens up with what feels like an homage to the Dark Knight Returns comics, starting off with Carrie Kelly taking down the mutant leader, Vernon Wagner. Which just goes to show me that something in the comics that feels like an improbability, when done by Gotham Knights, feels like an impossibility. Carrie Kelly, and I'm not going to call her Robin, even if there's a fire. Carrie Kelly apprehends the mutant gang leader, causing his gang to retaliate tenfold, taking the GCPD hostage with the assistance of a poison gas bomb. The mutants that I'm familiar with, and granted, I'm probably not as familiar as I probably should be with them, are typically depicted as total idiots. Mindless drones with a one-track mind and a knack for saying 3 or 4 word sentences. But in Gotham Knights, they are surprisingly a lot less intellectually inept. While it's nice to see this gang, like everything else this show offers, it feels grossly underwhelming at best and shrug-worthy at worst. While Batman Incorporated and District Attorney Harvey Dent do their best to stop the threat, Mayor Hill stands idly by, giving in to the gang's orders and agreeing to release the leader for the gala's safety. The show does a really bad job of affording equal time to each of its leads. In this episode, Duella and the Rose had very little to do with the actual plot, barely getting any screen time at all. Colin goes undercover in a side quest, Harper and Stephanie fight over deactivating a bomb, which ends with Harper getting offended because Stephanie saved the day. Yeah, alright, that's some good writing. We deactivated a bomb and saved lives, but we're gonna be upset that the wrong person deactivated the bomb. Oh no, I get it, she didn't trust her input enough, but she still deactivated the bomb, so maybe it's a good point that you're making, but the way that you're going about it is really bad. And Duella is just sort of there. Outside of them, the vast majority of the plot showcases a friendship forming between the should-be Robin and the alleged actual Robin. But the problem there is, I don't feel as if anything has been furthered. Things seem mostly the same. The two don't develop their friendship. As a matter of fact, they're just recycling dialogue that they've previously already expressed, or at least alluded to in the previous episodes. Nothing's changed. Nothing new is said. Nothing is accomplished. At all. This was such a filler episode, and in a show like this, it makes it really painful to sit through. When this show is at its best, it's alright as background noise. So when it's at its worst, it's mind-numbingly dull. Watching the teen cast snap at each other isn't exactly my idea of entertaining television. But I will say, Harvey continues to be the best acted and have the most entertaining story arc. The one moment of note comes at the tail end of the episode as Harvey announces that he intends on running for mayor, which is very convenient timing as the Court of Owls are ensuring that there will in fact be an opening. There's also a moment at the gala where Harvey is approached by the Marches, and handsome Harvey and Miss March exchange a look that is then followed by a longing stare from Rebecca. As her husband walks off, she comments on some sort of previous history the two share, unbeknownst to both her husband and the audience watching, though I think we can all probably imagine what it is that she's referencing. And let me tell you, I was way more invested in that little story setup there than anything the rest of the episode provided me with. Stephanie Brown being torn between friendly flirting with Turner and pretty much blatantly dating Brody March, who went to jail for her. Harper still being annoyingly overprotective of her brother to his greatest dismay. Carrie still hiding some sort of secret from Turner. Turner trying to reach out to Harvey even though he knows Harvey won't accept him because he's a fugitive.
I'm not worried about it! I'm not worried about any of this! I'm done! Do what you want! Pull the plug!
And that's it. That's the whole episode. It's sad when a plot can be summed up with such a small amount of sentences. That's the full episode I just told you about. And whatever you're imagining in your head is probably better than the actual execution of the episode. When Two-Face being a two-timer is the highlight of your episode, you should know that your Batman show probably isn't going to get a second season. Misha Collins is pretty likable and believable as Harvey. He is perfect casting, and I think it's a real shame that this is what he was perfectly casting. I've probably said that verbatim in my previous videos, but I think it's worth mentioning again. As always, this episode provided some Batman references and throwbacks. The Mutant Gang are using Ace Chemicals, which is the same brand that created the Joker, whom they all must be very well acquainted with, as the Mutant Gang's second-in-command breaks into a party of Gotham's finest, reciting The Dark Knight.
Just here to provide the evening's entertainment.
It also seems like the Joker's daughter referenced the Batman the Animated Series episode, The Joker's Favor.
Then you could pop up into City Hall like a stripper popping out of a cake. But you would need someone to open the door from the inside.
You called me here just to open a door?
She can't open the door and push it in all at once! Think!
Maybe I'm just putting things where they don't belong because I just got done watching that episode. But if that is the reference, I appreciate it.
Careful, don't want to get bomb all over your Valentino.
It's a May nickel. And that is a mutating algorithm that deletes itself once complete.
What?
I can appreciate what this show is going for, at least in terms of the murder mystery aspect. These self-made junior detectives continue to investigate the murder of Bruce Wayne, only realizing that the more answers they get, the more questions they lead to. It's a slow build, a reoccurring cycle that throws its audience for a loop. You never know what you're gonna get next. On paper, I love it. In execution, though, it is the most boring experience. I just never dealt with something Batman-related that I was so disinterested in. There's nothing fun to this show. What fans love the most is gone. No Batman, no Joker, no Jim Gordon, no Robins. Not really, anyway. Sorry. And the new things that it replaces the old with aren't nearly as effective. This episode didn't advance the plot in any major way, and it stood out as a distraction from the main narrative without providing anything actually entertaining for a returning audience. This is by far my least favorite Batman show, and this so far is my least favorite episode in my least favorite Batman show. But with all that being said, if you happen to like this video and want to see me dive into the next episode of the show, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
Gotham's in your hands now.
I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
I am vengeance. I am the Knight, and that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.